Okay, Grant Holt has announced his retirement at the age of 37 yesterday. Obviously, very famous for his spell at Norwich City, where he was captain for a while. But here's some crazy stuff. He played for 13 clubs in 19 years. And he finished at Barrow in the National League, so in the non-league, the old conference, as player coach last season. He's decided, yeah, age 37, enough's enough. I'm gonna call it a day. He scored 158 league goals in total. I couldn't find his stats for cup games, like League Cup, FA Cup, but 158 league goals. 78 of those goals in 168 games came for Norwich. So Norwich, he was a 1 in 2 striker. Every 2 games he would score at least a goal. So that's not bad stats to score once every 2 games. The rest of his career, not as prolific. So Norwich was his peak of his powers was at Norwich. He was crucial to their back-to-back promotions as well as leader on and off the field. Massive, big, burly striker. Not blessed with great pace, but great physicality. Um, Hence why he's decided to join the World Association of Wrestling. That sort of is very apt for him post-career. But he will now be joining the Norwich City coaching staff at Carrow Road. So he's going to be giving back to the club that propelled him to the Premier League. Here, he also had a brief spell at Aston Villa in the Premier League as well. But Norwich is what he's best known for. He is a cult figure at Norwich City Football Club. But yes, 19 years of professional and 13 clubs. That's not a record, but that still shows what happens in the lower leagues of football. A lot of players will go from club to club and be classed as journeymen, even though they have some really good stats, like 78 goals in 168 games. There are a lot of players who do drift around the lower leagues and go from club to club. Grant Holt was one of them until he went to Norwich. He was a journeyman, and then he goes to Norwich, and for whatever reason, it clicked. The club clicked with him, and he clicked with the club, and he suited the style of play that Norwich were playing at the time. And back-to-back promotions is hard to do, but to go from League One to the Premier League, and he was decent in the Premier League. He wasn't a bad Premier League player. He was decent considering that Norwich were in the bottom half of the table and in the relegation fight for a lot of his time in the Premier League with Norwich. But absolute cult figure in the Premier League. But yeah, not blessed with great pace, but great physicality. Very similar in role to Rickie Lambert, just a little bit less prolific. Rickie Lambert had that little bit more upside than Grant Holt did. But they both have a very similar story. Travelling the lower leagues for a while, being journeyman players, both roughly the same age. Rickie Lambert retired last year at the age of 36. Grant Holt retired this year at the age of 37. But yeah, both similar backstories. Both told that they wouldn't make it as professional football players. Both had brief spells in the non-league, much like Jamie Vardy as well. Difference between these two players and Jamie Vardy, they've played for less clubs. Played for more clubs. Jamie Vardy's played for less clubs and is a bit younger and has a bit more about him than a Grant Holt or Rickie Lambert. Exceptionally physical striker, big lump up front, solid, scored in all 4 professional divisions and in the non-league. He retired. His last playing gig was at Barrow in the National League as player coach. So he has now officially scored in the non-league as well as all 4 professional leagues. He's one of the few players to do so. The others being Jamie Vardy and Rickie Lambert that come to mind, because the Premier League wasn't around when Ian Wright came onto the professional scene. It was the old Division 1. So he didn't, he skipped, he was found by Palace and went from non-league into Palace's ranks, and he did sort of skip out a couple of the lower divisions. So Ian Wright, although scoring in the non-league and the Premier League, hasn't scored in all the professional divisions in English football. So yeah, a cult figure is Grant Holt. Well loved at Norwich, and of course he's now decided to retire. So that's another solid professional, and it does show how solid a professional you have to be if you're playing at 13 clubs in near on 20 years. That's pretty much sometimes more than a club a season. So it is hard being a lower league professional football player. The fact that Grant Holt did make it at the Premier League, he's achieved something there that a lot of lower league players wish they could, and a lot of budding professionals wish they could, and a lot of kids don't make it. It's said that about 90% of academy players don't end up turning professional. It's good to see that he's got a career after football as well. That's a positive. That's a big talking point in sport, is the career post-professional sport when you retire. It is kind of good that he sort of found a second calling, even though it's sports entertainment and wrestling. He sort of found that next chapter, and he will still be a coach, so he's still involved in the sport, which is good to see. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. He announced this yesterday, not today, so I apologise for the lateness on the video, but a lot of other sporting stories came up. I will have some more videos for you soon. Please place your comments below, like and subscribe. See you around.